Hey, Sean Chandler here, and I'm joined by Cody Leach, and we are in the final part of a 4-part series where we are hearing his story, learning his YouTube growth tips, and today, in the final part, we're going into rapid fire mode, where I'm going to throw some questions at you, and you're going to give your quick answers to them, trying to touch on some different things, equipment type stuff, advice type questions that are a little bit different than the ones that we've asked up to this point in time. And with that said, let's get started with the rapid fire.
I'm ready.
What is the best YouTube advice you've heard or that you can share?
Figure out who you want your audience to be, figure out how to reach that audience, and then figure out how to grow with that audience.
And we're going to follow that one immediately up with the flip side to that. What's the worst YouTube advice that you've heard? Or similar to that, what's like a YouTube myth that you've heard people share about, this is how you really grow, that's just nonsense?
They kind of are intertwined together, and it's that the first person to talk about something isn't always the most successful. Like, you don't have to rush home and stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning to get your video out. Sometimes there's value in that, but most times people find you and stick with you because of the value of what you're doing, which takes more time than rushing home and getting a video out immediately.
Yeah, in particular, this is one, I'm assuming most of you guys watching are looking to do like movie channels, but not necessarily. But in the movie space, when you do movie reviews, there's this sense of urgency because there's clear-cut release dates. And maybe you got to even go to a press screening, but there's still the embargo release dates. So there's that sense of like, I have to get it out as quick as possible. And there's a few times that really pays off, but very rarely. Normally, it's better to take your time and make a good video that you're proud of. Because you even think, you rush out to crank out this video at 4 a.m. That's your best video? Are those your sharpest thoughts? Did you have time to process that? Probably not. And let's say it does take off. That's your first impression to a bunch of people. And you want it to be your best.
Exactly.
So that's where I think there can even be negative sides to the success that comes with. Actually, I do have a story with that. I did a trailer reaction for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
I remember.
And I just did a live stream and the trailer dropped. And I went, I'll just go for it. And I literally didn't do any of the proper stuff. I did a live stream for my trailer reaction, and I grabbed 2 phones and I held them up, held push play at the same time, went like that. Watched one on one phone, held the other one up to the screen as a live stream, did this reaction. And up to that point in time on my channel, that was the most viewed video on my channel. It was the best video I'd had. Like 16,000 views or something. I was like, wow, this is amazing. It was also the worst video on my channel. Because I didn't do the streaming settings right. So it was going, it was like crackling. Hey, so I was actually just doing a live feed on a different video, and just as I was coming to a close, some people mentioned that the new Guardians of the Galaxy trailer dropped. It sounded awful. And even if it wasn't crackling and awful, this is a terrible video. It's just a terrible idea. And then adding to that, my son walked in the middle of it and he was picking his nose. Like, it was just this hilarious set of circumstances. But I just went, I got to get out as quick as possible. And so I put out a video that it did get a lot of views. Superficially, that was like, cool. More importantly, though, I gave a terrible first impression to 16,000 people. Excuse me. I think I had 300 subscribers at the time. 15,700 people got a terrible first impression of my channel because I rushed it out rather than pausing, putting out something better that wouldn't get as many views, but was actually something I was proud of. Once again, I'm supposed to be talking, but you just said something. I was like, that is so true. That is like, I take that bait all the time. Oh, I gotta rush it. I gotta rush it.
Yeah, and I'll make it quick, but like when Cobra Kai came out this past holiday season, I had crate screenings for it. I had mine out the moment the embargo dropped. Wasn't a very successful video. I was the first person there, along with a couple other people. So I know for a fact that there's a lot of times when that doesn't pay off. On the flip side of that, when Halloween Kills was coming out, and I know my entire subscriber base is aching to hear what I think about that, positive or negative, I go and see private screening of it the night before. I'm up till 5 a.m. editing this video because I know the sooner I get that out, and it's one of my most successful videos.
Right, like knowing your audience and when that stuff actually matters, because usually it's best to get it right.
Yeah.
There's a few exceptions where if you know your audience, it's better. Next question. What's the most important skill to master to succeed on YouTube?
Being able to connect with your audience. Absolutely. Because there's so many channels out there that they're all technically doing the things right. Their video will look professional. They'll have nice little pretty transitions, or they'll have all the movie clips you can ever ask for. But when they're talking or when they're on camera, they're failing to make that connection because I think I don't know if they don't know how to do it, or if they feel like all the flash on screen kind of hides that. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But that's absolutely been my biggest, claim to fame, or whatever you want to call it, is that I know how to talk to people. And I know how to connect with people, and I know how to have fun with it and make sure that they're having fun with it, whether they agree with me or not.
Right. That's at the core of all of this. If you, especially if there's different types of channels, so it kind of plays a little bit different. If you want to be like a talking head,
Yes.
so your personality, sharing your opinions, you have to find a way to build that bridge to another person where they feel a connection there.
Yeah.
And they actually want to hear more of what you're saying. And you got to figure out how to do that. That is pivotal. Okay, this one, sort of a question, kind of more of a discussion. On the technical side of things, when it comes to your camera, your lights, and your mic, which one's most important, which one's least important, which one's mediumist important, and why?
Absolutely the most important is sound, which most people probably would not think. They would think that the best video, but if I put two videos in front of you right now, one of them's in 4K but has crackling sound or sounds horrible, you're going to click off of that way sooner than you will the guy that's filming in 720p but has pristine sound. Because most people, when they watch YouTube videos, they're on their phone, they're listening, they're in their car, whatever. YouTube's a video medium, but people listen to it even more than they watch it. So easily sound is the best. Get quality sound, then everything else kind of falls into place. The least is actually probably video. For multiple reasons. One that I just said, you can have lower quality video. Don't go too bad, but you can have lower quality video in a 4K age and still have very good content. And also, what we were talking about before we hit record is how accessible cameras are. I mean, we walk around with amazing cameras where you can literally zoom up and see the craters on the moon. You can film for years off of that. I think you went a long time with a webcam.
I mean, even as you said, even if you have a video with bad picture quality, stop and think of how difficult it is to even do that for the most part these days.
Yeah.
Because this is being filmed right here with my phone.
Yeah.
And almost all of us have a camera in our pocket on our phone. This is incredible. That when I was growing up 20 years ago, you could not get a camera that good outside of Hollywood in tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And now that's just assumed it's in your pocket. And it shoots in freaking 4K. And so you don't have to worry all that much about it because you have a camera or a webcam or something that has the ability to deliver great video. And I guess by default, that means your most medium is lights.
Absolutely. I mean, I work with a green screen, so lights are a little bit more critical for me than most. But you'd be amazed at how much lighting can change just the quality of your camera without changing any settings. I mean, you can have a camera that looks like it's shooting in 720 just because you're in a darker room or you're off in a shadow somewhere. You turn some lights on, all of a sudden, woo, Lucasfilm.
That's the missing piece that so many people don't get. It's not really about having a great camera. It's about using the camera that you have properly, and that comes down to lights.
Yeah.
Just having enough light, doing lights properly, backlighting things, not paying attention to where the shadows are at on your face, and that's lights.
Yeah.
And they don't even have to be expensive. You go to Home Depot, buy a couple of these canned lights, put one right here, put one right here, put one right in front of you, get daylight bulbs because it mirrors the sun. It's an even light. It's not too blue. It's not too orange. And it's good for skin tones. 3 of those, each side of your face. You're well lit. And all of a sudden, your phone or your expensive camera looks way better.
Yeah.
You don't need to spend $2,000 and go into debt getting a camera.
No.
You already have one in your pocket right there.
I just
get
bought
some lights.
This camera that's shooting Sean right now. I just bought that 2 months ago. I've been on YouTube for almost 6 years. I was shooting off of a little Canon camcorder for the first 5+ years. I never felt the immediate need to change it because I knew that was just going to be an incremental change.
Right. And that's, at the end of the day, so everybody defaults, I need a great expensive camera. No, you need good audio. And that really just means you need to have something that's clear, that a mic that's close to your mouth. If it's too far away, then you get room noise, you can hear everything going on in the house. So you need something close to their source, and it's nice and clear.
Yeah. And for the love of God, if you have multiple people, if you're doing a group thing, get multiple mics. Don't have one mic in the middle of the room and everybody's
From far
coming all
away.
over each other. And yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like you have to get it right and know how to get levels right, so it's not like you have to know how to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, lights for the picture quality get like dramatically more bang for your buck than $2,000 on a camera or whatever. All right, next one on here. Favorite piece of gear?
Favorite piece of gear right now is actually this thing called a Shuttle Pro. It's only for editing, but you hook it in, and I use Adobe Premiere, and it's this little spinning disc, and it has these little mappable buttons. And so now I have a two-handed approach to editing, where I used to have to drag and drop and then go to the keyboard and use the arrow key. Now I can just spin that and navigate through the video. I have all my cut, play, copy, paste, everything just at my fingertips. And it has been amazing the past year or so that I've had it, how much faster my editing process has become. Which I don't care who you are, and I don't care how skilled you are at editing. That's always the most difficult part. Because shooting, after a while, you get used to it. Doing thumbnails after a while. Editing is the work side of it, to where it's the wash, rinse, repeat experience of cut, drag, move, navigate. And so that one little piece of equipment, $50, $60, whatever I spent on it, has made my editing experience so much more streamlined.
What are you currently learning about YouTube?
How to evolve, how to continue to strive towards progression, continuous improvement. We talked about it in some of the other previous episodes of this series, but that's the biggest thing that I've struggled with since going full time. You know, I go full time and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to quadruple down on everything that I've done thus far. And it worked great for a few months. And then once non-movie season hits, once the ad revenue dips naturally on YouTube, you start to have to get more creative about things that you do to battle that. And you start to realize, at least I've started to realize, that even though what I do is great in certain aspects, and for some people that might be all they've ever wanted, they wouldn't want me to change anything. I know there's opportunities out there. There's opportunities to adjust the intro, adjust the outro, tighten up the editing a little bit more, pay more attention to the length of video, things like that. Just little tiny incremental changes that just in the month that I've been doing it, I've seen the difference in the click-through rate, in the audience retention, in immediately pointing at something else at the end of the video, almost like in a jarring jump cut to get them to click something else instead of going through 90 seconds of outro language before I show anything they can click on. Because then the graph's already dipped. 70% of people have already left. Exactly. And I've noticed comments on videos that I've been pointing at that are years old that I know are from those people that just watched something brand new.
Final question for you. What is the biggest mistake that you see people making on YouTube? Or what's the thing that you see the most often where someone's just stuck and they're not growing and you wish you would have want to shake them and be like, don't you see, man? Don't you see what you're doing here? What is it that you see?
It's one of two things. Either one, they're just trying to do something that somebody else has done, and sometimes to an agonizing degree. There's a guy on YouTube who has a similar background as me, who, when he does a ranking, puts the numbers and posters in the same positions, but reversed, wore a beanie for a long time, which sounds like something I shouldn't have a copyright over, but I kind of did. Like weird things like that, where it's like you're only going to be so successful at doing what somebody else does, and it's never going to be fulfilling. The other thing is that goes back to that classic definition of insanity. If you're doing something over and over and over and over again, and you're not changing anything, and you're not hitting, change something. Because it's not YouTube's problem. It's not like they just haven't found you yet. You just got to stay the course. It's something that you're doing or not doing is what's causing that. And until you figure out what that is or stumble upon it, you're never going to get a different result.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact quote, but I remember this. It was in the email signature of a guy I used to work with, something along the lines of the system you currently have is perfectly designed to get the results you're currently getting.
Yeah.
So if you don't like your current results, look at the systems, the processes. If you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting the results.
Yeah.
If you don't like your current results, you need to change something.
Absolutely.
And we've been doing this long enough that it's exciting that we're both full time. That's cool. And we've seen all sorts of people in this time that we've known that have had varying degrees of success. And that's a big one. Just wish some people like, what are you doing to stand out? What are you doing to grow? What are you doing to continue to evolve? What are you going to do the next? When do you get to even stage 2, stage 3, stage 4?
And even though they've been doing it as long as we have or longer, eventually they ask that age-old question: What's the secret sauce?
Yeah.
What's the code? What did you do? There is no code.
Yeah,
there's no secret sauce. You have to continuously seek it out. Changes every day.
Yeah, it's with fitness and like, what's the secret to losing weight? What's the secret to gaining muscle? Well, it's if you want to gain muscle, you need to lift heavy things and eat lots of protein. And if you want to lose weight, you need to stop eating bad things and you need to move more. Like, there's no secret to it. Everybody knows the answer, but we all want it to be like, no, take these pills right here,
Or the hack.
Yeah, like the hack. Like, if you stop eating at 6 o'clock, then this, that. Like, no. Like, there's maybe some things that help a little bit, and that sure, but at the end of the day, the bread and butter. Are you offering something of value?
Yeah.
Are you connecting with an audience?
Yeah, exactly.
And if you're not getting the results you want, think, what unique value are you offering? Are you able to connect with an audience?
Yeah. There's no magic hashtag. There's no awesome video title. There's no word you can throw on every thumbnail to get people's attention.
Like, what tags do you use to like? It's definitely not like that. You can't just throw Mr. Beast in there. Somebody that start going, this definitely doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, you got to make videos that get people to click and stick around to the end. And if you can do that, you'll start to grow.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for your time doing this. As I said at the very beginning of this, I think hearing stories and the tips from someone like me, that is so much more helpful than hearing it from someone that feels off and distant. Even a bunch of the YouTube expert people, they're almost too good at it. It's like, I've got 25 gold play buttons.
Yeah.
And like, I just know the formula. Like, right, you're a master at this. And if I sat down with you, that'd be real helpful. But you're just too good at it. You're just too detached. You're a prodigy.
Yeah.
I'm not. So...
And the answers to our questions are constantly evolving. Like, if we sat down and did this 3 years ago, we would have a totally different video. It'd be valid stuff, but you're always learning and changing.
So thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for letting me stay at your house. And thank you for joining me on our panel that we're going to be teaching at the MegaCon in a couple of days.
Yeah.
And thank all of you for tuning in, watching, listening to us, and keep talking movies and YouTube too much.
There you go.
Bye-bye.